Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always thank you for the support, really do appreciate it. So today I think I might have said I was going to play with something else, but my sister's gone out, so I haven't got long to make a video today. So I'm going to come with this Crafter's Companion, just the note embossing stamp and sets, embossing folder and stamp set, sorry, and the Roses in Bloom topper pad and die set. So let me just pop those out of the way for a second, and I'm going to be using a 6x6 card blank. Okay, so I'm going to start by bringing in this piece of cardstock. This is from the Knitwit Positivity cardstock pad. It's sort of it's like a dark blush colour, so like a raspberry sort of. So that's where we're starting. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and then the first thing I'm going to do is just cut this to 6x6, and that's just to go in my embossing folder. It will have to be trimmed again, but I just prefer to do the sort of biggest size first and then trim it down afterwards. So as you can see, I mean, it only comes to sort of there anyway, so let me just check. The same double-sided, so it doesn't really matter, but I'll put that in and about there. It's only a 2D sandwich, so I'm just going to need my 2 plates. So I'll put that on and in. Let's see if my Gemini is going to play nice for me today. It has been being a little bit slack the last couple of days, sort of the pressure's not been quite as much. There again, it's not as much, so I'm going to pop my magnetic shim in. That's the slightly thinner one, isn't it? So let's put that through. I'm not quite sure why over the last couple of days it sort of needed the extra plates in for the pressure, so been dropped or anything, it's not moved. So let's have a look. That's much better. So I have got a little bit of the white paper coming through, but I am going to put a little bit of ink on there anyway, so that's fine. So let's pop that one out of the way, and then I'm going to take the die out there. Keep that to the side, so we'll do all of our cutting, and then we can go ahead and do this assembling. So if I grab a piece of white card and a little bit of tape, and I'm going to need my plates all back. Just wondering whether to put a shim in. That's my, let me just grab my cut and tidy. I'm just going to that one. We'll just go in that as soon as it's already playing up this morning. Oops. Cut into that one. Go and pop in. Oops. Okay. And the other thing I want to do, out, take that one out, pop that one in, I just want to emboss those stars. Let's just pop that through. That's going to be nice. Yeah, I can see those on the other side, so just pop that one out, and you can see you've just got those, you can just pick those up, those little stars. Okay, so I'm just going to put that with my elements. We'll keep that one out because I am going to cut that in black as well, just as a simple shape. And then the next thing I'm going to do is bring in this topper pad. Just going to take one of my sheets out and haven't even cut this yet, so die pack's not even open. So, and these are all numbered. Oh, these ones are not numbered, but they're numbered on the decoupage, so you just simply have to match them up. And this sort of sticky out bit here, you just have to make sure that you cover the number, and then it should line up pretty well. That's going to be that one. Oops, that one's going to be that one. And obviously I'm going to tape these down on there. We'll do one leaf. I don't know if I'm going to cut both of those out. I'm going to bring in my narrow tape. So let's just get these on nicely. That's that one. That's that one. There. Lost the end of my tape. Just put that up a little bit. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Again, I'm going to use my metal shim. Just let me put that one out in there. So I'm hoping this is all going to cut, because the metal shim is just a little bit smaller than the plate, so it's hanging over it a little bit. I could go and put it in a bigger plate, but I'm not going to do that. Have a look. Right, so I've got a little bit of the orange on the outside there, that's not a problem. I find it's hard to sort of line these up exactly, you just get it in the rough area, so but it doesn't detract on the card. So, and if you are sort of bothered by it, what you can do is just go in with your scissors, and I may well do that. We'll see how I feel when I pop it together. Okay, so we've got the flower, we've got the edge, we've got the right. So the other thing I need is going to be some black card. So I'll just cut a piece off here, and I just want this border again. And what I'm going to do is cut this in half so that I can put half on each side of my white piece that I've done. So I'm not going to be embossing it, it's just purely for the shape to match and tie in those black colours. colour scheme that I'm going for. Oops, slide. Let's pop that down there. I think that's all we need the die cutting machine for. I'll put that out of the way. There we go. And there we've got our piece there. Okay. So let me bring those back in. That's where we're up to. So the first thing I did say I was going to put a little bit of ink on here. So if I bring in my Daubers and a little bit of ink, I sort of want the same colour, and Plum Jam seems quite similar, maybe a little bit darker, but I'm just going to add a little bit of highlights on it. It's just going to hide that little bit of white. Nothing too crazy. And like I always say to you, you know, if you were, I'm not the person to watch for inking techniques really. I can do some basics, but I am not by no way, you know, not the strongest colour you've ever seen in your life. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that like that. Oops. Let me back in you. There we go. So let's just pop those out of the way. Tidy as we go. Okay. So if we pop that there for a second. So I'm just going to check. So my card blank itself is exactly 6 by 6. So if we bring in our trimmer, and you know what I'm going to say, 2 notches under the 6, 2 notches under the 6. And then for this one, what I'm going to start by doing is just, so where we're at to, we're at 6. So if I trim at the edge there, and trim at the edge here. So now we're at 5 and 2 notches. So I'm going to take that across there. Across there. We may have the trimmer black that down a little bit. Let's see. I'm just going to take a little bit more off there. So let's just go to 5 3/4. That should be fine. Let's have a little look at that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's pop those bits out of the way. And we can start assembling. So bring in my card blank again. I'm going tent fold. Like I said last time, I do find the tent fold seems to be slightly stronger in supporting any weight on a card. And although this is not going to be really lifted or really heavy, it's just, you know, it's just you're confident that the card is going to stand on a mantelpiece. So that's why I do like to use them. And of course, you know, now you've got your sort of square, you can then take that into a sort of easel, twisted easel, you know, anything like that. And, you know, don't be afraid to cut this down even more if you want to. So you could make that into a much smaller piece to suit whatever project that you're using. Okay, and again, as always, I'm using my all-purpose glue. This is the last couple of makes I've made. I haven't made anything with any silver or foil, and these are not coated cards, so there shouldn't be any problem at all in using these. So as it stands as it is, it's a perfectly nice card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that to the side to dry. I'm going to take my scalpel and I'm just going to run it down the middle of this piece. It's going to be behind so nobody's going to see it. I'm just following that shape. Also going to bring in my stamping station. I think I'll use the hunky-dory one. Go. Oh, I've lost the thing again. Oh, there it is. There's my little spring. I don't think this spring really belongs in here. I think I've stolen it from somewhere else, which might be why it keeps popping out. Plus the fact, like, for weeks and weeks and weeks, of first weeks of its life, it was pretty much on the floor, off the floor, on the floor, off the floor, you know. So I didn't treat it very well for the first couple of weeks of its life, so, well, a couple of months of its life. Let me just get that back in. All down. There we go. It will pop up in a minute. So let me pop this onto here. I think we can just there. And then we want the stamp that comes with it. And the one in here is just a note, and that is fine for what I am doing. Which is pretty much going to be like a thank you card. I've got 2 birthday cards to make shortly. One is for a boy, my nephew. One is for a girl, his girlfriend, and their birthdays are on the same day, mid-May. So okay, so the magnet's not holding it very well, so I'm just going to put a little bit of the sticky glue dots on just to keep that in place. And then you just have to position your stamp following the bend. So let's put that on, pick that up nicely. And I'm going to use the Noir Black, which is the waterproof one, just purely because it's the one that was on top of my computer. And I could have gone in with any of the quick dries in a sort of raspberry colour. But I do like to stamp in black, I don't know. There we go, first time. And hopefully this should peel off quite nicely. Yes. And I'll put the stamp over there before I forget. Right, that's away. So that's our little bit of stamping done. So the thing I need now is this tacky glue. Just a little gunged up there. Okay, so this is the top piece. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of tacky glue all along that bottom bit there, and then I just want the tiniest little black border at the top. That will do for me. And if you wanted to, you could go in and run your inker over these stars. I'm not going to today. Right, so I just have to make sure I put that the correct way. Yes. So I didn't want to put it on the side that I'd cut. I wanted it to be on the neat sort of die cut edge. There we go. Let's turn that over so we can see what we're doing. And this bit is just going to go on the bottom. Again, just a tiny little border. Just so that it's going to stand out on our card. I'm just going to take my knife and run it along the edge there, just because I can see that tiny bit of black. And although nobody else would see it, I would see it on the card and it would annoy me. Okay, so this is our piece that's going in here, and I'm going to grab some hunky dory. Probably about 2, maybe, yeah, it's probably about 2mm foam pad there. Put my, just going along that edge. That one can go back. Those pads off, nice bit of glue on. And then we're just going to pop this onto our card, just over there like so. Okay, so I'll need that in a second. So then we're going to turn to our decoupage. We've got our leaf. And what I am going to do is just on this bigger piece, because I've got that bit of orange coming through, I'm just going to go round and just trim that off a little bit, just because for me it's annoying. Nobody else would probably see it, but and actually when it's on a card you probably won't see it at all, but just from this base one, just going to take that one off, and again on this little leaf here as well. There we go. Okay. So we've got our 5 pieces there, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And I'm going to get the hunky dory. I want the really thin pads. So I know they're here because I had them the other day. So yeah, just slip down a little bit. So because I've already got quite a chunky dimension on here, I don't want there to be quite so much on the actual flower itself. Okay, so the base layer I'm going to keep flat, and then this other layers I'm just going to go around with my little bone folder, just curve them a little bit. Just to give a little bit of shape. Okay, so this is the largest piece. So these do happen to be tiny little 1mm foam pads, so just going to have to throw quite a few on there, just for my peace of mind. Sorry, it was George. Every time somebody goes past the door he thinks it's his mum. And poor Henry's not coping well with his dodgy legs, so he's on the anti-inflammatories at the moment and sort of restricted to no playing, so he's not happy about that because I've had to pack all of his toys away and I put them in the cupboard. I put them in the cupboard, and the first thing he did was to go stand by the cupboard, and he didn't even see me do it. He was in his cage in the kitchen. So he must have just smelt them. But yeah, he is not happy. Mind you, he did find, he's found one teddy and he's found one ball. So I've let him just have those ones, although I haven't like thrown him or anything for him. He's he brings it to me and I'll roll it back to him, which he's quite happy with, because sometimes when I go to bed he'll bring a teddy and all he wants me to do is just, you know, pop it into his bed, and then he'll put it into my bed, and then I'll pop it into his bed. So he is a funny little soul, really. But he's got to go back in a couple of weeks time, so 2 weeks tablets they've given him from last weekend, or over the weekend. And he I don't think he's really getting any better, really. He did manage to make it out into the garden by himself yesterday, but then there was a pigeon on the tree, so he sort of jumped to try and chase it, and then he couldn't move again for a little while. So when he goes back, they will knock him out so they can have a good feel of his leg. Maybe x-ray it, but I think they think it's his knee, you know, like sometimes these dogs get these knee injuries. So I'm just hoping, because it's now both of them, he's got one weaker leg. It sort of got a bit better last time, but it's not been 100%. So I'm just hoping that doesn't mean bad things for him. So we're just popping that one over. Oops. Come on now, to stick them. There we go. And then we've got this one. So I might just pop back and cut that at the leaf. Let's have a look. Let's see what this one looks like. Bit of glue as always. Oops. Yeah, I think it does need that other leaf. So let me just quickly cut that one. Okay, so I've just cut this second leaf, put a little bit of foam pads on the back. Let's see. Just going to put that one in there. Okay, so then we've got our arrangement. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, just grab some. So this is going to go on this side, like so. So if I just bring it down just a little bit, and what's the companion one? So these are a small square, but they're quite raised. So just going to put 3 on the bottom. And then a couple on the top. I think that should. Yeah, I think so. And then what I'll do is I'll put some PVA tacky glue across the middle so that it will stick to this bit here. So just get these backs off. Get in there. You can see it all coming together now anyway. Go like so, and then covering up most of that, just a note. I've got a pad there, it's just got stuck underneath. It's disappeared, so that in effect is our card. Okay, so you know I'm not going to leave it there, so I just want to bring a little bit of drama to it. So what I'm going to do, grab my, on all of these beads here, all of these dots here, what I'm going to do is just pop a little spot of glue and I'm just going to my tool into that. Actually, what I'm going to do, let me take that one off. So this glue does dry clear. So if I just spread it away a little bit. Okay, I might put a bow there and hide that. I'm not going to do it on every dot, I'm going to do it on every other dot. Okay, so every other dot. I think they'd just be, if it was a tinier bead, then it would be fine, but these are quite medium sized ones, so I think if I go every other one, that's really going to pick it up the pattern. Pick up tool's not working today. Sorry if you can hear George crying. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and bead this up and then I'll come back just to speed up the video. Okay, so you can see I've gone ahead and done all of those at the top of every other dot. It's a little bit messy there, but I'm going to hide that in a second. And then just with some larger ones, I've just gone in on the centre of these flowers underneath just to pick that up. Just a little, looked a little plain without it. I hadn't planned to do it. I have to be honest. But once I put them on, it did look better. So that's what I've done. And then lastly, I've cut some of these that I've already cut out before. These are the timeless butterflies with the same sort of principle as this really. You've got the printed sheet and the dies that go on them, and I've just picked out some of the ones that I've done with the black and the yellow just to pick you know, carry on in with my tones here. So I've got this tiny little one here which I thought I might pop on a leaf, and then this one here, just shaping those wings round. Put that one there. Okay, so let's just go ahead with my tacky glue. I'm just going to pop that one on there. Press down. Again, tacky glue here. It might go on this flower rather than the leaf, because we've already got a leaf there. So just want that to stay up. And then this one, just to hide that little mess that we've got there, although it's not that noticeable, I can see it. So let's just press that down in between those dots. There we go. And obviously it just needs a little plain insert, but that's my finished card. So next time when I come back, I'm going to come back with Coronation Crafts, purely because I've bought their new coronation die. So I think that will be quite cute with the coronation coming up on Saturday. Just wanted to sort of do a video with that. I thought it might be nice to memorialise it a little bit. But then after that, we're going to be back with maybe Hunky Dory, maybe Crafty Witches, one or the two, and then we'll take it from there. So until then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.